Welcome to the Simone and Tasha Show. I'm Simone.
And I am Tasha.
And Tasha and I, every week, we bring you gems. We bring you encouragement. We bring you inspiration. We bring you love, y'all. Tonight, we're going to be talking about building a legacy, Tasha. Let's go.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
The reason that we thought of this topic is that so many people work all of their lives providing for their children while they're working. But then when it comes time for retirement and it comes time for us to move on in life, we can't even help our children to start their life, to start their adulthood. And so many of the dominant culture, they are able to give their children that hand up and that step up. And
Yes.
we are not able to. And that's why we have been inspired to focus on building a legacy for our children and our children's children.
That's good, Simone. That's been a problem for a very long time, and it's time for a change. And we're going to give you some tips to do that.
Yep. Because what we've seen over time, most of us, we followed the rules. They told us to go to school. They told us to study hard, and they told us to go to college and get degrees. But what we found out later on in life, that the public school system in America was just set up to keep you either failing or keep you in a position where you're working for someone else. So there were three things that came out of the public school: people who went to work in the factories, people who went to college and got jobs, and then there were the people who they had the system had their sights set on putting them in jail.
Right,
and that's why they say from the cradle to the jail, they had a cot waiting for them. So it was all set up to keep us all conforming to the rules.
Right.
To the rules that were set by somebody else, the rules that were set to keep us from questioning. From day one in school, you get in line.
Right.
You all do the same thing, sit at the same desk and move at the same time. They were just teaching us to conform so that we couldn't even think for ourselves.
Yes.
And now, Tasha, at this point in life, what do you see at this point in life?
To be honest with you, it's the same thing that's going on. But you do have to do your own research, do your due diligence, and seek out other opportunities. It's more to being somebody else's employee. You can definitely be an entrepreneur. It's a lot of that today, so they do push that a little more. But you still have many companies out here. They just want you to make their company successful. And so here you are working for these companies 20, 30 years. You leave with a plaque and maybe a retirement fund, maybe
a watch.
And you still have nothing to show in the end to provide for your children or your grandchildren. But that plaque, that's it.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we've all conformed to. Like my mother worked 30 years for the New York City system as a nurse. She worked 30 years. Sometimes she had to work 2 and 3 jobs just to take care of us, because she was a single parent of 5, because her and my father divorced when after 12 years of marriage. And she was a single parent of 5, holding it down by herself, working 3 jobs. And when she retired 30 years later from the New York City system, she got a plaque. And then the other way they hook you is that they gave her a pension. You know why? They gave her a pension so that she could encourage her 5 children to work for somebody for 30 years so that you can get a plaque and a pension.
To speak to that, Simone, not to interrupt you, but these companies make the pension, sound good, people, but the reality is the cost of living goes up every day, every year. And you still have to rob Peter to pay Paul. Mm-hmm. So the pension only goes so far.
And you're still back in the same situation where, the pension is not as much as what you were making. So you're in the same situation where now you're living paycheck to paycheck, pension to pension. after working all those years, and I know it's probably like a whole generation of people that can relate to this. It's a whole generation of people that the only thing you knew was to work for somebody for 25, 30, even 40 years. And then you were left with a pension. And then when your children came of age, you couldn't help them pay for a wedding. You couldn't help them buy their first home.
Right.
You couldn't help them do any of that. Some parents did, but the majority of people could not do it.
Right.
And so then they have you in the mindset too that once you're 60, getting close to 65, it's time to retire.
Absolutely. And definitely these days, guys, 65 is not retirement age. That's the new 40.
That's right. 65. Let me encourage somebody out there. I know somebody's listening. 65 is the new 40. So it's not time to retire. It's time for you to review the dreams that you've had, review the things that you thought you had to let go because society told you that you were getting too old and you couldn't do it anymore. Go back and review those things, and you stick with us, and we're going to lead you on a path where you can manifest the things that you thought were lost. You're going to be able to manifest your dreams and the visions that you thought you had to give up.
Sounds good.
Because that's what we've seen. We've seen from people that we have worked with. They have retired with nothing. Some people work until their last day here. And that's something we just want to encourage y'all tonight, that we are going to focus on building a legacy, and we're going to help you do that. We're going to help you stay in the right mindset, like what we talked about last night.
Right.
Reprogramming.
Programming.
Yeah. Remind us some of the things we talked about, Tasha.
Yesterday's session was reprogramming your mind for success. And so remember, we discussed set clear goals, make it concise, make it clear. Don't be afraid to write it down on paper. Write the vision and make it plain. Mm-hmm. Step one. That's step one. Anything you feel like you want, you need, write it down. Take a picture, get some pictures out the magazine. Like I said before yesterday, go to that car dealership, go past that house. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is that's on your list that you would like to achieve. It may be a vacation. Yeah. Go on the internet and look at different hotels at that location, or, take some different pictures off the internet, put on your refrigerator. There's so many things that can inspire you to move forward.
Because, Tasha and I, we've always been inspired, and we stay inspired. And that's why when 2020 hit, when the world got shut down in 2020, what we did, we didn't have our, we weren't down and we weren't out. We packed up our things, we got in our car, and we moved to Mexico. And what we were able to achieve there, something that we're proud of, we were able to buy land. We were able to build a house, a luxury container home. We were able to build that in Mexico when the world was shut down.
We were, Simone, but wait, back up. I think you glossed over that way too fast.
Go ahead.
She said in 2020, you guys, we packed up our car with all our stuff and drove to Mexico.
From Atlanta.
Did y'all catch that?
Yes.
That's big.
Yes. We did, and I just say that to say that we are always moving forward.
Absolutely.
We are always looking for opportunities to grow, for opportunities to continue to make our dreams come true. Prior to that, we kept saying we're going to live outside of the country. And so we were like stuck on HGTV watching Caribbean Life.
Oh, that was our show.
All that stuff. And it was just inspiring us, and it just got into our bones to leave the country and explore something, to live that Caribbean life. But since it was 2020 and we couldn't really get to the Caribbean like we wanted to, we figured we could drive to Mexico. Let's go to Mexico.
And best decision ever. Definitely.
Yeah. So we just encourage you that no matter what your dreams were, no matter what was on your bucket list, don't throw your bucket list out. Continue to strive for the things on that bucket list. Continue to try to achieve the things that were on that bucket list. Don't let this system that we all grew up in, the public school system and the programming of corporate America,
Right.
and all that, don't let that system keep you from achieving your goals now. Don't get down and out thinking that your time is up and it's all over. It's not over yet. It is
Right.
not over yet, you know. And we're just going to encourage you with that, because that's one thing I don't like to see is that people, they reach 60 and they start planning their retirement, and then when they retire, there's nothing to do.
Right.
And how
Right.
many, Tasha, how many of them do we see right at Walmart or somewhere like that having to work again after you already put in all that time?
Yeah, it is kind of unfortunate. I know some individuals choose, to do that in their retirement because they're bored and it's not necessarily about the money. So they just want to kind of, get out and be mingling against, the crowd and everything. So that's understandable if it's a choice. But many of them, it's not a choice. They're trying to make ends meet, and so I say, if you have a dream, like Simone said, don't let it die. You can always pivot and do it on the side or do something different. Start off small and kind of, go from there. It's options.
It's like Les Brown. I grew up listening to Les Brown when I was in my undergraduate program, and I was driving to school from let's see, from Grayson or Decatur somewhere. I was driving down to Georgia State University in downtown Atlanta, and I was listening to Les Brown in my vehicle driving, and his words just stuck with me to this day. And Les Brown says, it's like we all have greatness in us. We all have greatness in us. We all have something that we're supposed to bring to this world. And I encourage you that there is something else for you. There's something that you're supposed to bring to this world. So don't let anything hold you back or keep you from bringing it. And one thing he always said too is that the graveyard is full of dreams and businesses and ideas, because people don't achieve what they have in their heart to achieve. They don't even try. And we're going to encourage you to try.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And don't get us wrong. We're not saying if you currently work, some people love their job. Nothing wrong with having a 9 to 5 or whatever your hours are. But if you have that dream, you can still work your 9 to 5. You can do it in the evenings, do it on the side or whatever, you can make it work, with your schedule. So just don't let that dream just fall to the wayside. I encourage you just to do a little bit every day towards that vision that you have.
And we'll discuss more and more about that and encourage you more and give you more ideas of what you can do to get to the point where you want to be, to get to the point where you're achieving your dreams and your goals. So be encouraged. Don't take your dreams to the graveyard. You can live your dreams right now. Take the steps that's needed to revisit your goals, revisit your dreams. It's not over.
Absolutely.
You still have time to achieve the things that you wanted to achieve in life. It's not over.
Right. Remember, I said yesterday, you guys, you can always start over. You can start over. I don't care what age you are. There's nothing wrong with starting over. And I'm not saying like start over and like, have kids again if your kids are, 40 or something. That's not what I'm saying. Just basically, if you have ideas, put them in the works. Like I said, get around people that have the similar ideas. Get into those different, meetup groups that you might see people that, doing some of the things that you like to do, and that is a start by itself.
Yep, that is. So be encouraged. I'm Simone.
And I'm Tasha.
And we're going to be here every week.
We're going
to be launching the podcast every week. You'll have a new episode on Tuesdays. And on Friday nights, we're going to start doing something real special. Once we get our Patreon up and running and going, we're going to do something really special for our members on Friday night. In the meantime, we're just going to bring y'all love. We're going to bring you encouragement. We want to bring you some inspiration.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, y'all. Thanks for coming by, and we will see you again tomorrow.
All right. Be well.